Hello, everybody. I'm Daniel Cairns here from Whole Tire, Ontario, Canada. Something serious has happened to me, and I want to bring it to your attention because I believe that there's a lawyer out there somewhere who can take this case. Now, I've talked to, I would say, 30 lawyers, give or take, who's high-profile lawyers in the area. Now, what I'm getting is we're booked up, or we can't take you, or we're too small of a firm. But I need to ask you, I bet you I'm not the only one here that is into this area now of having difficulties getting lawyers to take a case, especially on a slip and fall and a trip and fall case. Now, if by chance there is a lawyer out there that would like to take my case, I'll be glad to take it and have you come and take my case. Now, there's two different things to my case. There's the slip and fall on February 11th, 2026. I put the township on notice on February the 12th. They come along with their snow plows already blocked in my truck that's sitting in my driveway and I couldn't get out. I have pictures of this. So I had to go out on the road, just like anybody else would. I was fit, able to do this, not a problem. I get out on the road and I'm shoveling out the front of my truck so I could get out to go to the store. Now, I slipped and fell. When I got up off the ground, I had no feeling to my right side of my leg. Now, thank goodness I had a shovel. And I have screenshots pertaining to all this evidence. Now, I made myself back into the house with my shovel in hand, leaning on it so I could move my right side. Now, getting into the house was a little bit of a challenge, but I made it back into the house. And I was doing renovations on my house and stuff like that at the present time. You know, I have a dependent that depends on me to make sure I get my wood and stuff all in the house for the winter months to keep it warm and cozy in our house. Now, I get in, I have our bed, our queen size bed, sitting out in the living room, between the living room and kitchen. And that's as far as I made it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm a disabled person as it is. Mega years ago, I hurt my left leg. This time I've hurt my whole right leg, which is totally different from when I did before, and I was walking with a cane. Now, the township knew this because they've seen me many times walking with my cane because I couldn't walk properly. Like, I would have problems with my knee giving out on my left side. But that's prior to the course. That's not what's happened here today. That's like 6-7 years ago it's happened, give or take. So now, the township shows up with their plow truck and plows in the front of my truck. In the regards to them doing this, on February the 12th, they take the front of my truck off. And I didn't see it till later on when I could get out of the house enough on my crutches, okay, on my crutches, to dig out the front of my truck to find the damage that the plows actually had to swing in to take the front of my truck off. My truck is now a write-off. My truck is in the hands of my insurance company. They only want to give me $1,900 $227 in change, 53 cents or something like that, in change for my truck. It's a 2007 Dodge with another motor put into it, driveline, like transmission and transfer case put into it with a MagnaFlow muffler system. I'm not accepting that. So I need a lawyer that can cover that issue. Back to the slip and fall, the township shows up on February 17th after I put them on notice on the 12th. After I got back from the hospital the first time taken out by ambulance because I couldn't walk. There was just no way I could walk. So I called the ambulance the night of the 17th. They showed up early morning of the 18th. In regards to this, them showing up, they had to help me out of the house. But prior to that day, on the 17th of February, 2026, the township come along with their payloaders and blocked me in. A barrier of snow across my main entrance of my door, blocking the sidewalk, which is only out 4 feet outside my door before you hit the sidewalk, blocking it. I have pictures of them piling the snow up and how they left it, the situation. The situation escalated from there. Because the night I called the ambulance on February the 17th, the ambulance showed up the early morning of the 18th. About an hour and a half later, putting it at about 1:30 or so in the morning, because it was snowing a little bit, and I told them to take their time so they didn't get in an accident or whatever. And they had to transfer a patient from Matheson, Bingham Hospital, which is not equipped for anything, ladies and gentlemen, not even for doing casts. They took me there again for the second time. So the first time was on February the 12th. The night of February 11th, early morning February 12th, the ambulance took me there. And then again on the 18th. But when they come to get me, they couldn't bring their stretcher in to get me out of the house. They had to help me walk out through this barrier of snow. Now, I'd like to take this a little bit further. With the barrier of snow being 3 feet high across the sidewalk, which is against the law anyhow, and it goes against the municipalities and Ontario and federal laws, of blocking a person in with a disability is a human rights violation as well as a criminal and federal violation. It goes under a lot of laws there. You can look it up. Now, as they were taking me out, helping me, assisting me to take me out, I tripped and fell over the snowbank and went face first into a ditch area that was covered over with snow and hard packed. Now, I could have injured myself quite well, but when I fell, I had a paramedic fall over top of my lower back as well. Wasn't his fault. He tripped over the snowbank that was there. The barrier of snow caused by the township here. Now, the township had obviously, to my investigation, had ordered this hit, personal hit on me. It's come down from the administration office. This doesn't only go for the mayor, it goes to the treasurer. It goes to the deputy treasurer. It goes to the deputy CEO, which is the same as the treasurer. It also indicates the CAO. It also puts the whole council involved in this mess. And now you have the Public Works Department. Black River Matheson is who I'm talking about. Township. Now, I was taken to the hospital on early morning of February the 18th. Doctor comes in. He did x-rays on the 12th. The doctor comes in, which is my family doctor, who allegedly retired already and is no longer practicing, but he was there at the time. And I was released from that hospital without crutches. Nothing. It's a good job that my neighbor, bless his heart, brought me a cane to use on the 12th, on the morning, afternoon of the 12th, to get me out of the hospital. And that's what I had with me. Now, when I asked the doctor for a transfer from Bingham Memorial to Timmins, Ontario Hospital, I was denied. He says, well, you're not dead, or you're not just about dead, so we're not transferring you. That goes against the Charter Rights and Freedoms under the federal laws, especially under the provincial laws of the Disabilities Act and the duties to accommodate. Now, about a year ago, I put in for a CAO position at the local township office that had an opening. I also had put in for the volunteer disability committee, which I questioned because people doing the same job as council was not getting paid. But I said, okay, that's fine. I'll put in for that. I was denied. I was denied on both. The mayor said that I was not qualified enough. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hold a CEO certificate. I also hold a engineering certificate. I hold a minister's certificate. I hold a legal studies certificate. But I am not qualified for this. I got my level-aided boom. I got my boom license. My level-aided boom, my platform, my forklift license, my disconnect, reconnect, and haulage of propane license certificate. But I'm not qualified to take on a CAO position, and allegedly, according to the mayor of Black River Matheson, who's acting as mayor, who's running again for mayor, who's caused all this grief to me prior to the course, as well as other issues within the community. Now, by putting up a barrier of snow, which is 110% against the law, it's not only public endangerment, okay? The laws state that the township has an obligation to make sure all sidewalks are clear of snow and debris. They failed. They failed their duties. Public trust. They breached public trust. Intimidation. On the 27th of the month, I received a letter of tax arrears. Now, I just paid the taxes on December the 8th, 2025, and I received a tax arrears notice, but it was in a farm tax arrears, and as an intimidation from the Treasury Department at Black River Matheson. Now, in regards to this, I decided since February, I was going to get a lawyer involved in this. But the problem with Ontario is they're either thinking that their firm is full, but they're still advertising that they're looking for work, which I don't think is right. If you got enough work, your books are full like you say they are, you can't take on any other cases. This is huge. I now walk with a walker, ladies and gentlemen, given to me by Timmins. I had to go to Timmins District Hospital on June 11th, and I'll come back to that one in a minute. Though, from February 17th to March 8th, 9th, and 10th, I sent emails to the bylaw enforcement officer at Black River Matheson, who's acting CAO. Now, my CEO overrides both of theirs. Now, the reason I do believe I wasn't hired for this position because of my disability of my reading, writing, and spelling. Let alone, I'm a mouth of the community, speaking up for people that can't speak up for themselves or don't know how to speak up for themselves. Now, I'm not the perfect person here. Sure. But I do know the laws that govern around people of community safety. Now, in regards to this, if you do want to try and take my case, or you want to take my case on, you can look me up under Diamond Dan, DIAMOND DAN 1963 at gmail.com. This is not going away, ladies and gentlemen. If I have to take my own case, which I can't afford it, I'm on a disability pension. I make $1,100 a month. A lawyer will take the case, but they want $150 for me to talk to a lawyer. I've already did the legwork. I've got all the pictures, screenshots. I was even denied services from the township. Everybody else in the street gets a garbage bin, except for my house. And I haven't received one yet to this day. But I'm Dan Cairns of Holtire, Ontario, Canada. And I'm not scared to sit here and say the neglect, the public endangerment that this township has caused, the mental stress and anguish that they've caused. I'm a very strong person, being a disabled person. So what? I'm disabled. I tried to get out. I used to move 500-pound wood stoves. I have that on my videos too. You can look them down in my list here. You can subscribe and look at them. Everything I've done. I operated backhoe. I operated crawler loader when I was a kid. I worked as a young man. I worked on a drilling rig, drilling water on a cable drill for over 7 years. I have the experience in my fields. Though, I also have my certificate for caregiver and dementia on top of it. All of these are gone. They've ruined my life. This all runs under punable damages, ladies and gentlemen. All of it. But for these high-profile lawyers or lawyers that want to take slip and falls cases, they want to think mine's weak, is what I'm getting told too. Mine ain't weak. I've got more evidence pertaining to them pushing the snow up and leaving snow on sidewalks. No on sidewalks. I have pictures of these sidewalks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, yeah. Where else do you go? Where else do you do? So now, after 4 months, this is June 25th, 2026. The first initial slip and fall happened on February 11th. I put the township on notice on the 12th. They come along with their plow trucks and take the front of my truck off, which is now in the hands of the insurance company that only want to give me $1,900 and change for it, which isn't right. plus my slip and fall, my trip and fall, with a paramedic as witness to this. Two paramedics, actually. One just happened to fall over me. I'm glad I was there to break his fall. It could have been worse. He could have broke his wrist when he came down like that. Instead, they grabbed me like I'm a piece of meat and had to pull me out of the ditch because I fell and I couldn't get up, to pull me out in the road to get me up. Both of them, all they could do to lift me. I'm about 220, 250 pounds. That's a lot of weight for two youngsters to lift me up. They were good build paramedics. It's not their fault I fell. But it was of the gross negligence, causing bodily harm by the township of Black River, Matheson. Now, I've already written the Ombudsman of Ontario. I put into my concerns. Now, to take this a little further, not only on this slip and fall and this trip and fall, I had to contact the bylaw enforcement officer who is the CAO. And like I said before, my CEO certificate overrides both of them. Now, in regards, sorry, my new mustache is coming in and it's bugging me. Now, in regards to that, under the laws of Ontario, under the employment laws, for a person with disability, the township would have to accommodate me with my reading, writing, and understanding of certain words. I'm not very big on big words. I like keeping things simple, that I know what I'm talking about. Just because somebody else out there thinks they're better and wants to think that using big words really helps out, it doesn't. They know what they're talking about, but other people don't. That's the way we were raised through school when we were younger, back in my day, our day. Anyhow, you can relate to it or you can't. But getting back to this, I need a lawyer that can handle this. Now, this is a high-profile case because the criminal activity that the township of Black River, Matheson has did, it relates to all of them. Now, might not be a paper trail of texting or anything like that down through the lines to the Public Works Department to do this heinous job of using their payloaders or wheel loaders, whatever way you want to call them, to pile snow up on a sidewalk, which goes totally against it. There's other things in the neighborhood here. But to get a TV cameras on this, to get media on this, I don't have the money to put out for $150 at this point in time without causing myself hardship. I still got to eat and pay bills at the end of the month. Sure, I own my own house, but that's part of the course. Now, you have a recap here. You have my truck that's been damaged that's sitting in the insurance company right now. They've already picked up the truck, but they don't want to pay me out for it. You have the township. You have two slip and falls. One, February 11th, 2026. And the other one was the night, early morning of February the 18th, 2026, with a paramedic falling over me from the gross negligence causing bodily harm to me that has put me into a wheelchair. Or not a wheelchair, but a walker to walk with wherever I go. And the pain is still excruciating, shooting up my right side now. They figure I have spinal cord injury. All three doctors that looked at me think that I have spinal cord injury, as well as bulging disc in my back. Now, in regards to this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still waiting on an MRI in regards to this. Two of them, actually. One for my lower back that was put out on February the 18th by Dr. Brocher at Bingham Memorial Hospital that refused to transfer me from Bingham Memorial to Timmins District Hospital. When they don't have the equipment to properly even diagnose my condition. But though Dr. Platt and Dr. Brocher both say that it's spinal cord injury, soft tissue, that's not allowing me to walk. That now goes into my licenses, my certificates are no good. I'll never be able to use them again, especially my engineer and my CEO, because I would have to get out on the job sites on level ground that I could fall. I could be walking along now because of this on my right side, and I could fall without any assistance of a walker or crutches or a cane or anything. My stability's gone. My right leg knee has shooting pain coming right up through it. I went in on June 11th. They checked me for blood clots in the leg because my leg swelled up like this, like a little Smurf football. My foot did. My legs did. Up to my knee. They did a CAT scan. They say that the marrow in between my knuckle of my knee is okay. There's lots of it there. But they want to find out what's causing this sharp pain. I am now on heavy meds. Homophone is what they call it. And what it basically is, ladies and gentlemen, it's cocaine. Okay? There it is. There's that one. And there's another one here. It's a little green pill somewhere. And it's the cocaine. People love to get their hands on them. But I try not to take them because I don't take drugs too often. But I've been in those a couple times. But it still pains me to even sit in a chair for a long period of time or to get up to walk is a real challenge. But here I am. Can't do anything. I can't get out to get my wood for the winter. My life is turned around. Sounds like yours? Have you been in this same situation? The provincial government, okay, the Ministry of Housing and Affairs, which is just under Doug Ford's office, swore these guys from Black River Matheson in 4 years ago. There's an upcoming election. Now, how this works is gross negligence takes away their immunity, regardless if they're in the township or not. And I have proof of that. That means that they can be sued, every last single one of them, privately, and that their insurance will not cover them. Now, with the loss of wages that I was working on getting back into the workforce with, slowly has been terminated by the Township of Black River Matheson because I won't be able to use them again. I'm also a minister. You wouldn't know it, but I am. I classify myself as a redneck minister because I'm not perfect. I'm not better than you, me. But if you want to help me out with trying to get a lawyer on this, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't go through GoFundMe because GoFundMe has a lot of ticks in there that they want to charge you for accepting their money, and then a lot of red tape. But if you'd like to send me a e-transfer, you can at my at Diamond Dan 1963 at gmail.com. You can. And it'll get to me. It'll go direct deposit in. This is for my lawyer. They want $150 plus $3,000 detainer. And these other ones state that they want so much, like 30%. They don't get paid if you don't get paid. So they figure that this is a bad deal. Which, how can it be a bad deal when I've done all the legwork? I have all the emails. I have all the screenshots. I have them where the bylaw enforcement officer had sent out a Caterpillar backhoe to remove the barrier that was put there on February the 17th by the town, 2026, by the township of Black River Matheson. I plead for a lawyer to take this case. All cases, like my personal damage. My house was built in 1946, ladies and gentlemen, and I have pictures of them pushing the snow up against the side of my house. Now, in 1946, a little history here. They built houses on wooden posts. They're called pillars. By pushing the snow up to my corner of my duplex, the weight of the snow and the water running underneath is not only rotting out the pillars under my house, but has shifted my house a little bit on top of these pillars. Like you might have 6 to 8 inches of pillars where these rafters are sitting on, but these rafters have moved over and has rotted out underneath my house a little bit. Now, there's that. And plus my truck, plus the 2 slip and falls, plus all the evidence that I've obtained. I got pictures of council sitting there. I have pictures of the Treasury Department sitting there in the council meetings. I have proof of a lot more than what the township even knows about. I'm a holder of about 10 to 12, I'd say 12, 6 certificates and 6 licenses on me. Now that's great. This is wisdom. I'm educated. I educated myself, ladies and gentlemen. But with all this, I need somebody. I need a lawyer on this case. A plea for help. And I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who's in the same boat. But the difference is, sure, I could take my own case into court. That would eliminate the lawyers. But there's pros and cons to that. The police will not investigate any of this because they think it's a civil suit. Is this the way to go? Okay? The Ontario Disability Act states the duties to accommodate. The Human Rights Act talks about not only discrimination, but a whole pile of others that you can look up yourself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to a township, badly gross negligence, it's worse than bad faith. Okay? The gross negligence comes when they deliberately, without a doubt, without proof, which I have proof, destroys a person's life in regards to this. Now, the township of Black River Matheson, I'm going to put it out there because the municipalities across Ontario are garbage. If they're not looking after their streets in the rural areas, like the law states that they are, then you're going to find somebody like myself in your community stepping out to help them. I might not know everything, but I dang sure know that without a word of a doubt how the law is across Canada. Discrimination is very much a bad thing when it comes to people with disabilities and seniors. Seniors and people with disability are protected by immunity. Where is the laws? The laws are put there to govern the people, for the people, made by federal and provincial lawmakers, especially the Disabilities Act, where duties of accommodations to accommodate has been badly discriminated here. Very badly been damaged. Now, back when the township was exonerated, that means taken out by the Municipal Affairs and Housing, and they all lost their jobs prior to this, the same mayor was sitting on his council. He's one of the ones that caused the election last 4 years ago. Now he sits on council, or he is the mayor, from council to mayor, and took over Black River Matheson. That is causing a great deal of mental stress and anguish to people of the communities. Now, this community is being ignored by the province of Ontario and the federal. Now, I could get into this a little deeper, but in regards to my case, it's a starting point. Now, they were sworn in by the Municipal Affairs and Housing, Paul Kuranda. And also, I will say that Kathy Horrigan from Sudbury, Ontario, was there as well. And I talked to Kathy in regards to this, and Paul Kuranda snuck out just out because he didn't want to be questioned by me. Now, they think that they are covered by immunity, which the townships are covered by immunity, except if you get them under gross negligence. Now, gross negligence, ladies and gentlemen, can go, it's a hard thing to prove, except when you catch them in the act. You catch them in the act doing a crime, and that's a federal crime. It's up to 5 years per jail term. Now, I try my dangest here, ladies and gentlemen, to be nice to everybody. I try to help out where I can in the community. But when I see a government agency, like a municipality, doing something wrong to a person that is disabled or senior, I'm sorry, but I'm stepping up to the plate. Now, there's a lot more to this than what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to get off track here too much, like I have. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, on a slip and fall, you have lawyers out there that do slip and falls, yes. But will they take the case? I've been fighting for 4 months to find a lawyer to take this slip and fall case, which I agree, it's not a small case. Like, you got criminal negligence here. You have gross negligence. They've broken the laws through the federal and provincial and municipal, their own governor. Breach of office. breach of trust. It all runs down to the same thing. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dan Cairns from Whole Tire, Ontario, Canada. 723 Gleason Avenue if you want to cover this case. I'm down by the Roth line at the end of Gleason. You can't miss me. I'm in the big red house. It's a duplex. And I'm not scared to put myself out there. But I sure in the heck ain't going to sit back and take this. When they want to intimidate me by sending me a tax arrears form for 20, or when I've already paid $2,700 to them on December the 8th, 2025. After I've already put them on notice on February 11th and February the 18th, or February the 12th and February the 18th. And they do this in between, which is a criminal offense. It shows them pushing it up. I got a screenshot. You can make out the driver a little bit. He's a heavy set fella. I do believe that he has short black hair too. In the video, like in the screenshot that I got of him, you can pretty much make it out. I think he's got a beard and mustache too. So he's not going to be hard to find. But by the new laws that come out, regardless if you're directly or indirectly involved in a criminal activity now, you're accessory to the fact. They have a new law out that the Senate has just put out that covers this. The neglect from a township, the way that this is orchestrated, the way that it was presented and sent down by an order from the whole administration. Now, it could be anybody in the administration. It could have been the mayor, who's responsible for everything. Even if the CEO or the deputy CEO had put orders down to the Public Works Department to do this heinous crime against a person with a disability, a known person of a disability. So you take it from there, ladies and gentlemen. When you have this going on, it really irks me that you would endanger the public, endanger my life, the person that I'm looking after, that I'm supposed to be her caregiver, endangers her life by putting a barrier of snow up. The law requires that you have to keep the sidewalks clear, municipalities. This wasn't done. I got a pile of snow at least 8 to 10 feet high up on a sidewalk. Now, when they asked to come out, the guy says, "Oh, I work for the township," but he had no clue where to push the snow. And there's a vacant lot on each side of my house that's owned by the township. You could have put the snow there, but you neglected to, sir. That makes you liable of damages and law breaking that you've done by piling the snow more on top of the sidewalk, like the Public Works Department did. It's not just one Public Works Department here either. It consists of all of them. Though they want to think that they're hiding under immunity when I can prove gross negligence. Now, gross negligence? Yes. What's this going to cost them? It could bankrupt them. It could give all of them jail time up to 5 years per federal and provincial laws. Just because the police don't want to do their due diligence and their job by charging them doesn't mean the Crown attorneys can look away from this. I've already notified the Ombudsman of Ontario. I'm waiting for feedback on that. the waiting time is wild. Sometimes it takes a month to gather it all up. But I'll have that evidence as well under the Freedom of Information Act. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you do something like this to a person or a community and not uphold your duties to make sure the sidewalks are level and safe, it's not here. Now, I'm not sure how to share pictures of this, but the sidewalks in Holtar are like this. They're covered over with grass. They're never maintained. You're required by law to maintain your sidewalk. Okay? Well, that's not happening here. There's no sense of maintaining a sidewalk a little bit for yourself or for others that's coming to visit you, which I hardly get anybody here anyhow. My ability to do any housework here has been jeopardized. I'm under orders by the doctor not even to lift a friggin' plate, ladies and gentlemen. Not even a plate. The doctor wasn't going to release me from the hospital in Bingham Memorial or in Timmins if I didn't have somebody here at home. I'm supposed to be her caregiver. Though she's a good friend of mine, but ex-partner. But you see, I was her caregiver. I was her dependent. I did everything for us. I still try to do it. My grocery shopping, everything for the house, paying off the bills because she's unable to. Now she has become my caregiver to a certain point. And where do we stand today, ladies and gentlemen? It hurts. It hurts very much that you have a society out there who you can't even get a lawyer to take a simple slip and fall case or a trip and fall case that's been escalated by the wrongdoings of bad faith, of gross negligence, of community endangerment throughout the whole community, but especially right here at 723 Gleason Avenue in Holtar. So if you're a lawyer out there, or you're a citizen that would like to try and help me get a lawyer on this case, and you would like to donate something to me, you can. At diamonddan1963@gmail.com. That's DIAMONDDAN1963@gmail.com. And if you want to send me an email, I'll try and get back to you on it, and I will show you some of the evidence. But I don't know how to do it here. I really don't, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure how to. I really don't know how to handle this. So, do you think I am doing the right thing here? So you can do that, okay? It's crazy. It's really quite crazy that how a township or people of a township saying we want to make our township better. We want communication between the residents that pay property taxes, that the money's being spent elsewhere within your community. Like Matheson's getting all the money. They're looking after Matheson. They're not looking after their own communities that they represent. Where do I go? How do you do it? So the fight starts here now. And believe me, this isn't going to be cheap for them. The Municipal Affairs and Housing is going to have to step in. And the Doug Ford's office is going to have to step in to save this township. Mark my words, if I have to take my own case into the Supreme Court of Canada, I'm going to. Not bad for a person that's not qualified for a job at the township office and denied by the mayor, David Dement, who's running for mayor again for the township of Black River Matheson, that likes to endanger people's livelihood because a disabled person is a threat to him as I foresee it. And I can prove it. As well as the rest of the council and the administration and the Treasury Department and the Public Works Department that followed out on their orders. They're as guilty as what the whole administration is of all this. So it's not just one person. It's the whole works. And I know that Chris Ray and Cassandra Child, just to bring it up, already has a $1.8 million lawsuit against the township of Black River Matheson, and it's in court now. So if that lawyer's out there, or you know that lawyer, please get a hold of me. I would be very much glad to talk to that lawyer as well. Thank you very much, and you have a beautiful day. I'm Dan Cairns from Holtire, Ontario, Canada. 723 Gleason Avenue. That's asking for a lawyer to take this case. I have all the evidence pertaining to it, and yes, I've contacted the Integrity Commissioner, who has not got back to me on this case. I've contacted the Ombudsman of Ontario. They got back to me saying we have a resolution, but you don't got a resolution when it comes to criminal activity. Now, if it was one of us, any of us from the residents, by jumping Jupiter, the cops would be here charging you right now. But when it comes to the municipality that's paying their wages, which is a conflict of interest, which I have the township on a conflict of interest on 2 different areas, and they don't know it yet, but I do. I have that, and I have evidence pertaining to that too. Prior to the course, what they did here, ladies and gentlemen, by blocking a main entrance of a person with a disability is forcible confinement, public endangerment, okay, that caused a slip and fall to me, that blocked in a truck, my own vehicle, the only vehicle that I have, being a disabled person, blocking in a disabled person's vehicle and thinking that I don't got rights by being denied to be transferred from Bingham Memorial Hospital to Timmins District Hospital for proper medical here, ladies and gentlemen, is a breach of my charter rights and freedoms, and yours too, if you're denied transfer from one hospital because they aren't equipped to handle even the simplest things. Now you look it up and see if I'm right. Bring up the Ontario Disability Act under the UN Disability Act of discrimination. Bring up the Disabilities Act under the federal and provincial laws. Bring up the laws that the township, any township across Canada, is governed by the laws to do. Any of these is breaking the law, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm Dan Cairns, and I say thank you for watching my video, and please share this out. I need as much help on this as possible. I didn't want to go media, but this has left me no other choice. God bless you. And I hope that somebody out there hears my cry for help in this matter. I'm still waiting for lawyers to call me. I called the biggest law firm in northeastern Ontario, Canada, which is Diamond and Diamond, and they say they can't help me on this case. They say their hands are full. I'm getting lots of that they have a lot of caseload. But by God, there's somebody's got to be out there. How about you, Crowns? Federal and provincial Crowns should be on this too. You want to contact me? Contact me. But pretty soon, I'm going to take some money. It's going to hurt me to go in to the Superior Court of Canada and file my papers, which isn't going to be small, underneath the federal and provincial laws. Thank you very much. I'm Dan Cairns. We'll talk at you soon. God bless you. Now, I don't know how to stop this video. I think I got it.